welcome to another episode of the Wealth Twin Show. Today we're talking all about wealth, specifically, when is the best time to start building wealth? And with that, Nadia, I said we just jump right into this. Nadia, when do you think is the best time to actually start building wealth?
Well, I think the best time to start building wealth is really in your 30s. But I want to take a step back because I think if you really want to focus on building wealth, there's some foundational stuff that you need to focus on even earlier, which I think can be started as early as when you first start getting money. If, say you're a child getting money for doing chores around the house or anything like that, I think the foundation you need to start in order to build wealth is learning how to save your money. And the earlier you start doing that, the easier it will become. And then you can start building wealth because if you save more than you actually spend, that is a foundation for me that all wealth can be built from. Because if you have money put aside in savings, you can start using that money later on to invest. Even if you have bills that come along the way, you will learn that you have money put aside that you can start using for future causes. That's why I say saving is a foundation for building wealth. And even if you are starting to build wealth, which I think should be in your 30s, saving is something that you can start even earlier on as a child to help you start building wealth. What do you think?
I agree with you, but I would like to give people out there like, okay, not all of us are going to have that ability. Yes, the best time to start building wealth was yesterday and even 30 years ago. That would have been the best time to start building
Yeah,
wealth.
yeah.
But a lot of us wasn't really, didn't even have that concept of what that meant or even what it means today. A lot of people throw around the word wealth. So I want to give a definition of what it
Okay.
means about what does it mean to build wealth. First, the easiest definition where you can just understand it as a math number. To me, building wealth or wealth is a calculation of your net worth, okay? And that just means your asset versus your liabilities. The things you own that bring you money versus the things you owe that takes money out of your pocket, okay? So if you count it like that, building your wealth is kind of like losing weight, right? The more weight you lose, it's the total opposite. You want to build wealth, so that's the more you want to actually go up. Okay, so if you think of it like a scale, you want to try to get as many assets under your belt of things that are paying you money and losing all the things that are taking money out of your pocket. And the quicker you understand that the game is to build up your assets and build up the cash and keep building that up, that is the right time to start building wealth. The right time. So as soon as you realize that, that is the right time to do it.
I think there was a thing that went around before that if you had no debt and you had $10 in your pocket, you're actually a lot wealthier than it was like a quarter of the population or something like that. So I think if you put it in those terms, it will be easier for people to understand. But if I'm going to an exact age range, what I'm thinking that would be a good time to start building your wealth, I will say your 30s because I think your 20s, you're trying to figure out what you want to do in life. You're just getting out of school primarily. You still don't know what you want to do. So it's not very easy for you to start building wealth. It's not very easy for many people to start buying assets that can help them start building their wealth. But if you focus on using your 30s as your wealth building years, I think it sets you up for a long time after that if you're using your money wisely. So in your 30s, hopefully you're at a job that is more stable. You move from probably making hourly wages to more of a career focused rates so that you're getting paid on a salary. And then you can say, look, I have this money coming in on a consistent basis. What can I do with this money? How can I start buying assets with the money that I'm getting? And I think the 30s are a good time for that because you have more, like, you're more serious in your career and you're more serious about what you want to do and like trying to settle down at that point.
I'm gonna be the bad guy here. I don't agree with Nadia on this one.
Why?
Okay.
Okay.
First thing Nadia says that you have to be a certain age and it's a little difficult for you to start buying assets. Not true. Anyone can start buying in the stock market. Okay. It
Okay,
can be from
fine.
one
Yeah.
dollar over to 100. So that is an asset. Okay. Stocks are an asset, and that's not something that should prevent anybody from buying it. Okay. You can get money on your belt no matter what age you are to start building wealth with the stock market. So that's the
Okay.
first thing I'm
That's
disagreeing
fair.
with
That's
Nadia.
fair.
Two, and so you have to understand what is the definition of an asset. Like I said, things that are going to put money in your pocket once you buy it. So there's no definition how much you have to have in terms of that asset, how much you need to pay for that asset. So your job is to find out what assets that you have at your availability that you can actually buy at that point in time so that can help you start building wealth. Okay. Now, two, 30s are a great wealth building year. Fine. All the 30s, 40s, 50s too. 20s as well. What people need to understand, and what everyone should understand, and even myself, how many years can you give up of destroying wealth? I think that is the biggest problem that people need to understand. What age do you stop destroying wealth? Because all of us, once we get our first jobs or so, or maybe even money we inherit, we do have wealth. Problem is, we're too busy destroying it with consumer habits, with non essentials, with just not understanding how you need to have delayed gratification. So instead of trying to build wealth at the right time, is pick a date when you're going to stop destroying wealth, because you can do that at any age. And the moment you do that, you can then start building wealth.
I would agree with that because let's
I
say
got a little
you
passionate there, right, Nadia?
well, yeah, I still don't think I'm wrong. I still think that 30s are a great time to start building
I'm
wealth
not saying
because you
it's
don't
not a bad time, but there's always a great time to do it. The moment you realize it, stop destroying your wealth
I
and start building wealth.
I agree. Well, I think a lot of people think, "Oh, maybe I'm starting later on. I'm starting in my 40s, my 50s, my 60s to start building wealth." I don't think it's too late, right? Once you start focusing on that, and I think wealth is personal to you, you can like my idea of wealth and what I need to feel like I'm a wealthy person could be completely different from someone else. And depending on what stage you are in your life too. Say you have kids, you're going to need more money than you're going to take care of yourself as an individual, right? So there's different levels, right? But I agree with what Nicole said. The quicker you stop wasting money on consumer things and just putting yourself in debt, the quicker you can start building wealth. And I think that can start at any time. And I think you have more control over it when you're out of your parents' house or when you're in your late 20s, your early 30s. You can really go full force into doing that. I think as a child, if you want to start buying assets, you can buy it as young as 13. If you can open up an account for yourself, I think Fidelity does that. But up to 18, your wealth building habits are really not into your control. That's why I focus more on saving, right? But if you look at building wealth as an adult, it can start at any time once you get serious about what you really want to do with your money and what you're going to do with that wealth. You don't have any motivation behind why you're going to grow this. It's kind of hard to convince yourself to put in the process that is necessary for you to begin building wealth by accumulating assets and lowering your debts.
Now, I want to give people, I think we should take a step back, right?
Okay.
And say, well, how do you get the money to buy assets, right? Because you were saying it's in the 30s or so. The first thing I believe, okay, there's two things when you want to start building wealth. One, you have to have the right mindset,
I
right? And
agree.
that's what I'm talking about. Stop destroying wealth and things like that, because you have to get your mind right. The second thing is that you have to have the skills that create wealth, right? It's the skills that you have value. The more valuable your skills are to the marketplace, not to you as a person or to humanity, those are valuable skills. But it's what does the marketplace determine as a value? The more you can get more value out of the skills that you have, the more ability you will have to create wealth in terms of getting the money that will allow you to use money as a tool to buy the assets that you need that will also keep money in your pocket and continue to make money for you. So the first things you have to do is one, you need to get the right mindset. Two, you have to invest in creating the skills that you need that are going to help you buy the assets that you want that's going to help generate wealth. Now, I'm not talking about sometimes the skills are going to be you're going to have to go back to school to learn a trade or to learn a new major or so. Sometimes the skills are going to be you have to learn something outside of school. Nadia and I, we teach people how to invest. That is a skill. Anyone can learn that skill, and that skill will actually get you to buy the assets that we're talking about that will allow you to have some cash flow and actually build up wealth. But those are skills, and you have to take the time and effort to learn those skills that will allow you to buy those assets.
Yeah, when I think about it, I think about there's amount of planning that goes into building wealth, right?
Mhm.
There's a difference between you got to get paid and you know what to do with your money, right? But when it comes to building wealth, it actually is a lot of planning that goes in head. So if Nicole's talking about you have to build skills, you have to look at what skills you're going to need in order to help you bring your wealth to the next level. Think of it almost like window shopping, but it's not really like you're like, okay, if I put this in place or I have this money, then eventually I can buy this or I can do this to improve my life, right? That requires planning. You're not going to fall into wealth. Most of us do not come from wealthy families. Most of us Well, if we're going to become millionaires, or if you are a millionaire, most likely you did it on your own or you're a self made millionaire. Don't underestimate the power of planning that goes into the wealth building process. Part of that is mindset, but another part is skills, like Nicole said. And there's another part of being very intentional about the money that you have and what you're doing with that money.
I would say also you need to know what your end goal is.
Yeah.
A lot of times people ask us or say, "Is it too late for me? Is it too late for me?" Well, what is your goal? What is your wealth number? What are you trying to hit, right?
Hmm.
Is it too late for you to get out of debt? No, it's not too late for you to get out of debt if that's your goal. Do you want to be a millionaire? Is it too late for you to become a millionaire? No, it depends. There's strategies to get to where you want to go, but you have to first know where you want to go. What is your wealth? What do you consider wealth to be? What is that number? And then you can use what Nadia is saying. You could create a plan that's going to get you there, because a person has a plan of having wealth that's going to be 100,000, which that's their net worth is 100,000. It's a different plan than someone who wants their net worth to be a million or more. It's a different plan that will get you there, different skills that will get you there, different timelines that will get you there. So you have to first know what is your end goal, and then you can start planning how to get there by working backwards. So that's what I think a lot of people miss out. As long as you're able to breathe, and as long as you're willing to do the work, I don't think it's ever a time that's too late. But you have to know what you're going for and what
Yeah.
is the end goal.
I think also you have to give yourself enough of a runway too. Like, what is your time horizon? Because you can fail hitting that goal within a year. But if you look out 5 years, you look out 10 years out, you have a higher probability of hitting the goal that you're going to set, right? So I think people get a little dejected, and I think they feel defeated if they don't give themselves enough of like a time period between where they are and where they want to go. And I
Yeah.
think a
You got to
lot
be
more can be
realistic
had.
with it.
Be realistic. And then if you are realistic, you're more likely to not fall for scams where people are going to try to feed you something that you know is probably not going to work, but they're going after your desire to hit it faster, right? You'll be less likely to lose it if you do hit it fast, because if you're planning out a long enough time horizon, you're building up the skills and the knowledge that you need in order to keep that wealth. Because whatever comes fast will go fast too. So if you're building up the skills and eventually things take off from you, it's going to work for you. I was reading Kevin Hart's book when he said, "You don't want this rocket ship to go off and you're looking for the seatbelts. Give yourself time to prepare for when it actually does take off, so that you know I'm going to keep this for a long period of time."
Yeah, I mean, if you look at just the study of lottery winners or even NFL athletes, anybody that gets a huge amount of money very quickly, but did
Hmm.
not develop the skills to learn how to keep it, will have tasted a little bit of wealth, but have it taken away really quickly.
Yep.
So you have to understand that there's a process to this. And if you get a lot of money very quickly, you better get the skills that are going to allow you to keep that money, or else it will just go right back down. So it is important that don't wish, like how Jim Rohn says it, don't wish for more hope or whatever. He goes, wish for more skills. And that's because you have to become the person you want to be for that wealth to stay with you. And that's the thing that Nani and I really want to preach, is that wealth is, you can build wealth. Anybody can build wealth, but you have to become a person that can actually hold on to it. And that's when it becomes being responsible, being accountable, and being realistic, and also knowing that you have to give yourself a timeline for something that's going to last.
I think the quote from Jim Rohn is, "Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better."
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think the other one was, as you can see, we like Jim Rohn. So his other quote
Shout out to
was,
Jim Rohn. He passed away, but yeah, guys, if you ever listen to Jim Rohn,
he
he'll get
preaching,
your mind
but
right.
one of the things he said is, even if you split up all the money evenly around the world, the money will go back to the way it's distributed automatically, because there's certain people who know what to do with the money and there's certain people who do not know what to do with the money. So if you don't educate yourself, no matter how much money comes into your hands, it will fall through your hands just as quickly if you don't know what to do with it. Educate yourself on how to use it to your benefit and how to keep it.
No, I mean, you also could look at it this way. They also say, if you have a millionaire who has become a self-made millionaire, if you took away his or her money, all of it, they
Hmm.
can will become a millionaire again,
Yep.
because they have the skills that allow them to become a millionaire. That is something to think about. It's more important on who you become and what you learn how to do than it is that end number, because those are inputs. Skills and becoming the person is the inputs, and the outputs happen to be building wealth, becoming a millionaire, learning how to make assets, buy assets that are cash flowing. Those are outputs. So you got to look at the inputs that lead to those outputs.
Yeah. So if we're looking at the best time to build wealth, I think it's in periods. At one point, you have to start thinking about what are the inputs you need and not just focus on the money, but what inputs are going to help you get to the money. You're going to have to focus on that. And then you have to focus on building wealth. And then you're saying, okay, I need to go to the next level. Let me focus on what I have to do in order to get to that next level. So I think it's like something that's a never ending process. So you keep going, and as you're going through, you'll always grow. That's my point of view on it.
Yeah. So for me, when is the right time to start building wealth? Well, I mean, you're watching this video. I say if you haven't started, you should start it now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the right time. Don't wait until you're not able to build wealth. Don't
Hmm.
wait until when it's too late, when you don't have a source of income, when you don't have a longer time horizon, when you actually need the money that you should have had. Don't wait until then.
Hmm.
Okay. The best time to do it is when you don't need it. You dig your well before you actually need the water.
I
Okay.
agree.
And that works with everything. I'm not waiting to get sick before I realize I need to be healthy. So it's time to put in, if you are able to do it now. Start building wealth. Like I said, stock market, you don't need a ton of money. We're not telling you to buy real estate. Even when it comes to businesses, you can start a business that will help you build wealth. That's not going to take that much money as well, right? But you have to say, what is it first? What is my goal? Backtrack it so I can find my plan. Stop destroying wealth and also get your mind right. And once you do that, you can start building wealth today as soon as you watch this video.
Now we are an investing channel. We do have something if you want to start learning how to invest. We have a playlist that will focus on beginner investors. We also have a free guide that will teach you the 25 must know terms that you ought to know before you start investing. And we also have a newsletter. So all of that can be found in the description below this video. And there's no reason to wait, right? All of this is information that's available to you. So there's no reason for you to say, oh, I don't know what the right time is. You can always start. Even if you're making progress in going towards that direction, it's better than you sitting around wondering when you should start building. Well, the time is now, and just make some steps going towards the right direction to do that.
Yep. And we're here to help you, and we would love to help you. That's why we make these videos, and that's why we're putting out the community, right? We call our community the Wealth Pack, and we're trying to make steps to make sure that no one will get left behind, just like a Wealth Pack. And we want to help people to go forward. And if you allow us, we will help you too. Okay.
Yep.
So, with that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next video.